Hello and welcome back. And that's right, today I want to return to the subject of Ubiquiti UniFi and the UNAS series of devices. You may have heard that the brand has now unveiled UniFi Drive 4.0, currently in release candidate at the time of recording, available for the majority of their NAS systems right now. I think it is a staged rollout, and this video is going to be a couple of things. I'm going to talk a little bit about the update itself and what is included, but more precisely, this video is about why I genuinely believe Synology should be worried about this brand. Up to this point, I've always said that Synology, they might be worried, they might be keeping an eye on competitors, but right now, this update represents a turn by the brand towards a new kind of audience. Quick disclaimer though, I am currently working offsite on another job. I don't have my usual camera and mic equipment on me, so I apologise for just how echoey the sound is here. I am accessing my UNAS Pro remotely for this, but I'm also going to be utilising here on site a UNAS 2 that I've quickly formatted, and as you can see, I've got it updated there with the 4.0.12 update there. Again, it is a staged rollout across different devices, but one of the earliest kind of highlighted points that was both here in this video and highlighted on the official video on their channel is to do with photo backup. You are now going to be able to, on iPhone devices, unfortunately I'm an Android user, allow you to back up your photo roll directly and intuitively and natively from your iPhone. There is currently still clearance happening right now for the Android app. I believe it is still being reviewed over on Google, but again, that's quite a convenient little application, and photo storage, let's face it, is a big part of private server ownership. The next up was the update towards storage. Now you're getting a greater deal of information about your storage drives there. So originally, you could see a little bit of smart, that was really what was garnered, but now they're delving into a little bit more analytical information and tests that you can run on these individual devices. I'm not going to say the ability to run smart tests is something new these days. Likewise, the ability to see some of the interpreted information and get that factored into the logs is by no means a new thing generally across the board. But I will say I do like the fact that this is now being integrated into the general log structure of the UNAS Pro system, and of course the other UNASs behind it. Extra analytical information is only a good thing. Plus, once alerts that are tailored towards storage, tailored towards NAS, are then greater rolled into the general logs administration and alerts towards the UniFi network you've set up, a sysadmin is going to be able to act upon a wide variety of alerts within both the storage inside that UniFi network in a single point of action area. And this brings me on to what was pretty much the meat of the UniFi Drive 4.0 update, and that is the integration of Microsoft 365. Now again, once you get the systems out for the first time, you'll start getting alerts for this. And the real tell here is the idea that now it isn't just about integrating cloud storage. That's not unusual. Again, you can go into the UNAS Pro here. I can go ahead and set myself up a backup pretty darn easily. I can go ahead, sort out my backup in place, a backup task. As you can see, I've already set up a cloud task. Setting up backups has always been pretty darn easy, whether it is that you're trying to back up towards another UniFi NAS system, or taking advantage of SMB to back up onto the local area network, or again onto those supported cloud services. I've added a few recently and using those login credentials. What sets apart support of Microsoft 365 is the idea that it isn't just about basic storage. People that use Microsoft 365 and no doubt soon enough support of things like Google Workspace, because let's face it, you can't do one without the other these days, it's going to result in that wider, more tailored data backup being utilized and backed up towards your UNAS for failover. Now, there isn't any talk at the moment of live synchronization, and we'll get onto that later in the video, but it's the idea that those tailored kinds of data stored within those applications and services for Microsoft 365 users, which, let's face it, small, medium, large-scale businesses utilize, is only going to be good to be able to back up in that tailored fashion onto your bare metal system. And then once those SaaS services are backed up, then you've got support of snapshots for rolling stuff back. You've got support of creating an encrypted storage area with which it can reside. And of course, you can access it via the web browser at any time. But that's not really the only way to do it. And this is why I want to get onto the subject of why I think Synology should genuinely be worried about UniFi. And that is because now you have got that local level access. As you can see, there's our UNAS 2 there. we've already immediately allowed ourselves to create a local network connection. And what that means in real terms is now we've got access to personal drives immediately and one click connected to our system. We've got our client application. The logic is there. This is clearly being set up via SMB, just like normal, but the idea is that you can use Identity Endpoint to do this in a single click, and while using the security management of Identity Endpoint that is native to UniFi Drive, it allows for a simple one-click link creation and then direct point-to-point access between a local client system with its own native file explorer and that of the NAS you're accessing. And it is accessible just like it would be locally, which is a huge deal, I think, for a lot of users who are accessing data on a NAS but don't want to fiddle around with a web browser. But again, this is something that has occurred in an update I didn't cover previously, and that is now that Identity Endpoint can be utilized on your mobile phone to access your storage drives in the same secure manner. Now, I kind of wish this was rolled into a general purpose app rather than in Identity Endpoint, but I understand why UniFi would use their existing application architecture. But this does allow me, again, to manage files, to create shares for files on the fly. Again, it's all managed in there, and this is just bridging a big gap of access that a lot of users had when the UNAS first rolled out, and the idea that you can manage it all from this central interface and while at that same time manage multiple systems securely on the mobile desktop is appealing. Which brings me back round to seriously why Synology should be worried about this. Because number one, Synology's main appeal these days has been about their NAS systems doing it all, having its own surveillance platform, having its own synchronized backup platform, having active backup for business, synchronizing with SaaS and PaaS services easily, and allowing for secure access for home users for their multimedia and simple Apple Time Machine backups, right the way through to business backups as well. Now, these are all mega building blocks to achieve that same goal. Proactive measures for drive failure, taking advantage of logs via a single entry point to manage and avoid any issues and downtime on your network, integration with those larger software as a service and platform as a service integrators in the market. These are things that Synology have been building bread and butter on, and these are things that arguably the building blocks are now all here on the UNAS side of things, and I just don't think Synology realise how quick it's going to be for UniFi to turn these into really, really impressive products. If Ubiquiti was only focused on making UniFi storage boxes, I wouldn't say Synology should be concerned. But the reality is they are integrating this whole storage system, this whole cloud network storage system into their larger arrangement of hardware and software integrations, switches, Wi-Fi points, surveillance, the works. And frankly, they have an arrangement in their portfolio that completely decimates Synology's own hardware portfolio in areas where Synology still needs to rely on third parties. Ubiquiti and the UniFi system here, all the jigsaw pieces are there. And if Synology are not paying attention to this, they bloody well should be. Because all of these are just building blocks. These are building blocks that are moving towards a comprehensive storage solution. Once you factor the pricing into this model, that is just something Synology can't compete with. UniFi are rocking out products far more affordably and they build on their ecosystem. Synology has a higher price gateway for a lot of its NAS storage systems and gaps in its portfolio. So seriously, Synology, if you are watching this, and I bloody well hope you are, you need to take Ubiquiti more seriously because these guys are in it to win. Realistically, I want to see Ubiquiti do well here, not only because I think competition is good for the industry, but also because they have built a very solid foundation here. Now, it'd be very easy for us to point at this and say, there's still gaps, and there is. There's still no iSCSI support on the UNAS Pro or UNAS general systems. There's no support of containers, and of course a large part of that is due to the lack of things like x86, Intel or AMD powered systems there, lacks of ECC, that sort of stuff. But we also have to remember they've not been going at this for a long time. It is less than a year and a half since they rolled out their first solution there. They are moving rapidly. When you go back to the original review and see where the UNAS Drive software was then and now, it's clear they have a roadmap. I said that at the time when we made that video, and it's only bearing fruit now. Again, keep an eye on this brand if you are looking at NAS storage, and remember that you don't have to hold out. These systems are affordable, and if you are only looking for pure storage, there are fewer better options than these guys at the moment, but it's still yet to see them fully envelop and embrace some of the bells and whistles of other NAS brands. Ultimately, Drive 4.0 is more than just the things that have been added here. It's a significant step up in this brand's plan towards network attached storage. Let me know what you guys think. Have you updated your NAS to Drive 4.0? How are you finding it? What bells and whistles would it need to take for you to jump ship? Maybe you'll never jump ship. Let's talk about it in the comments. Apart from that, thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.